Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Ilaria Catastini, Director of the Fondazione MAIRE. Welcome to the audience here present with us and to those attending by remote. Thanks to the Italian Ministry of the Environment and Energy Security, who's hosting us in the Italian pavilion, and thanks to the organization of COP28. This report presents the results of an international study promoted by the Fondazione MAIRE and the Worldwide Research Institute IPSOS, with the partnership and support of the MAIRE Group companies for sustainable technology solutions and integrated engineering and construction solutions, NextChem and Tecnimont. The study examines how new skills and competencies and education to meet the energy transition, mitigation and adaptation goals over the coming years are perceived in 10 countries over 4 continents. Millions of people need to be educated to behave differently, building global climate resilience. Developing competencies during the energy transition is pivotal to this task, and this has to happen worldwide, reducing gaps in know-how and enabling decarbonization in every country for a fair and equitable transition that leaves no one behind. This survey tells us how strong is the perception about the need for developing new competencies and professional profiles to make it feasible and possible to reach the decarbonization goals. It tells what kind of competencies are needed to make a net zero economy real and what should be the levers in the transition of competencies. The coordinator of the study, Nando Pagnoncelli, chairman of IPSOS Italia, will present these results himself in a few minutes. Thousands of innovative solutions need developing to modify processes, business models, to make products with a lower carbon footprint. Tens of thousands of projects and infrastructures need to be realized worldwide for a new low-carbon economy. His Excellency, our guest ambassador Fanara, will tell us his view on how this research may help in boosting these activities and how Italy may play a role in this. I'm sure he will be proud to announce an important cooperation agreement that was signed a few days ago on the specific theme of education. Future growth in clean energy industries is closely correlated with the simultaneous development of qualified workforce to implement projects. This is the recommendation of the International Energy Agency report, Skill Development and Inclusivity for the Energy Transition. We will hear more on this later from its lead author, Divya Radhi, who will be speaking remotely from IEA, headquartered in France. Inclusive education for the energy transition is a great opportunity to reduce social inequalities. Inclusion and equal participation in the workforce is a key aspect, and it directly covers SDG 10, reduce inequalities, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, as well as other SDGs indirectly. Women and minorities are underrepresented in the energy labor force. Women currently account for only 16% of conventional energy sector employment. This research will show how women's inclusion is perceived as an opportunity. This is a good theme for one of our speakers, Daniela Bernacchi, Director of Global Compact Italy. A number of initiatives are already underway around the world, targeting education and skills training programs. Among the very international entities, the International Renewable Energy Agency is doing its part in developing knowledge and awareness, and the director, Francesco La Camera, will give us his valuable view on this. And thank Dr. Francesco La Camera for being with us today. Fondazione MAIRE and MAIRE Group are developing several programs in the area of education. A training project in conjunction with the Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development, ENEA in Italian, aims at training high school female students on STEM, science, technology, engineering and math disciplines, with a journey into the engineering sector and the energy efficiency and transition. Over 2,000 hours of training have been provided so far. The name of this project is Cinque Passi da Ingegnera, 5 steps as an engineer. Additionally, the Foundation has promoted both courses in schools and technical lectures in universities, training over 500 students on topics such as circular economy, recycling, and the hydrogen economy. Fondazione MAIRE is also partner of the THREAD project, a high school course on the ecological and digital transition, recognized by the Italian Ministry of Education and provided by the training consortium ELIS. The THREAD project trains 800 students every year from around 30 schools across the country. In India, MAIRE recently supported the WISE Women in Science and Engineering project, which involved 160 girls from rural areas in 3 Indian states, taking part in 1-week-long awareness and training program. After having in-person deep dive sessions at the campus of the Indian Institute of Technology in Mumbai, female engineering students mentor the girls remotely to sustain their interests. This shows them that study and work opportunities for girls in scientific disciplines are really available. Another example is MAIRE's CSR project in Paradip, India, carried out in conjunction with the National Institute of Technology of Karnataka, which is a circular plant that uses waste to produce biogas that can be used to prepare meals for people living below the poverty line. This project will involve underprivileged minorities during the collection of organic waste from local communities. MAIRE will provide the training for the plant workforce via NAITK, and the plant itself will be used as a case study as part of the NAITK faculty courses and within the MAIRE Technimont Center for Research on Waste Recycling and Circular Economy, first of its kind in India. The group has a network of over 24 universities worldwide and joins open innovation platforms, which aim to create R&D ecosystems that will help innovation in the energy transition to flourish. Our people's training is, by the way, one of the key components of MAIRE's bold sustainability strategy, with the top key performance indicator of 33 hours per capita per year, and a specific training program on sustainability targeting 13,000 total hours that engage all the group population of 7,000 employees. People need to broaden their skills to adapt to this disruptive change in the economy and in the society. Skills relating to collaboration, leadership, knowledge of multiple disciplines, creativity, ethics and flexibility are of critical importance to understand and manage complexity. Fondazione MAIRE has the scope to help develop the humanist engineers who will be the pivotal players of the worldwide paradigmatic transformation the energy transition represents. Humanist engineers have a multidisciplinary culture, a broad outlook, and soft skills who can blend technical and technological know-how and expertise with economic vision, with environmental and social sustainability knowledge and sensitivity. With this footprint, Fondazione MAIRE aims to use this report to stimulate a debate on the steps that the international community has to take towards developing the necessary competencies that make achieving the climate goal possible. I thank the team who helped me coordinating this effort, IPSOS team, and all the colleagues who contributed in various ways to this work. And now, Let's understand the findings of our study. But before all, let me ask Dr. La Camera if he has the time to stay here with us in the next, let's say, 1 hour, or if he has to go, because in this case, I will leave him the floor to speak. Okay, thank you very much indeed. So, please, Nando.
First of all, let me thank Fondazione MAIRE for involving IPSOS in this incredibly interesting and crucial theme, which is key in the present and especially for the next generations. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you the main results of this international research that, as mentioned in the title, is focused on the role of skill and competences necessary to meet the energy transition, mitigation, and adaptation goals. This project tries to answer the following crucial questions. How much are the benefits of the energy transition perceived? How clear is the importance and urgency of forming skills so what this transition occurs in the necessary time? And how is this need felt in various geographies in the world? To explore the topic of energy transition and understand the role of skills and education in defining an effective and inclusive process, IPSOS conducted an international survey involving 2 different targets: public opinion and key opinion leaders. The target public opinion included a total of 1,700 individuals from 10 countries across 4 continents: Italy and United Kingdom in Europe, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, China and India in Middle East and Asia, Algeria in Africa, the United States and Chile in Americas. These individuals represent highly educated, active, and environmental conscious people. We have excluded those who are unaware or uncommitted to environmental sustainability. The interview was corrected from the 22nd to October to 9th, from September the 22nd to October the 9th, 2023. Alongside the public opinion, 15 in-depth interviews were conducted across 6 countries: Italy, the UK, the UAE, China, India, and the USA, with key opinion leaders among sustainability and energy transition experts. These experts belong to 3 different audiences: academics, institutions, and top managers of private companies. The interviews were conducted via telephone and the online platform Teams by qualified psychologists. Now let's move through the results. First of all, we see that the topic of energy transition is well known among this target audience, and most of them are very familiar with it. Familiarity with this topic is particularly high in specific countries such as Italy, the UK, USA, and India. In countries such as China, Chile, and Turkey, less than half of the respondents are familiar with the energy transition process, whereas Saudi Arabia and Algeria occupy an intermediate position. The energy transition is perceived as an urgent and necessary process to address climate change, although its priority varies among countries. On the map, the horizontal axis represents the percentage of those who consider the energy transition a priority, while the vertical axis represents the percentage of those who think it's a priority for their own country. The size of the bubble indicates the percentage of respondents who consider their country to be more advanced or on par with others. According to this map, we can identify 3 different clusters of countries. In orange, we have Western economies, Italy, the UK, and the USA, which are more generally perceived as advanced in the energy transition process. They perceive the urgency of this process as lower and believe that this priority is average for each country. In green, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, India, and China view this issue as a priority and consider their country more engaged. They tend to have a positive perception of their overall country's progress. In red, the third group includes Chile, Algeria, and Turkey. In these countries, the energy transition is a priority for individuals, but not yet for their government, and they are overall perceived as being behind in the process. Indeed, the differences between countries like India, China, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Western advanced economies are key indicators of the significant changes in global energy transition landscape and of the shift between these 2 parts of the globe. According to key opinion leaders, European countries in the US and China have made great progress in the energy transition process, even though Europe stands out for the introduction of effective EU legislation aimed at incentivizing virtuous behaviors in energy management. We have asked if the strategies and efforts of each country are considered appropriate to address the energy transition process. As we can see here, respondents from almost all Asian countries recognize the adequacy of the strategy and efforts of both private companies and governments. The evaluation is more critical in European countries and Algeria. Across countries, the strategies and initiatives implemented by private companies are considered more appropriate than those implemented by governments, except for in Saudi Arabia and China. Especially in European countries, Turkey, Algeria, and Chile, the strategies are evaluated as less appropriate. Not surprisingly, across countries, the energy transition process is closely associated with environmental benefits such as combating climate change and global warming. There is also global recognition of its positive impact on human health, thanks to the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. In China, India, Algeria, and Chile, the benefits for human health are even more recognized than the impact on climate change and global warming. Finally, we can see that the respondents from Algeria recognize the benefits of the energy transition process the most, while those from Italy are more skeptical, expressing less agreement with these positive effects. The energy transition is crucial not only for its environmental benefit, but also for its positive influence on societal and economical transformation. One key benefit associated with this process is the creation of new job opportunities. This is highly acknowledged by individuals from India, Algeria, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. The potential for job creation in the green energy sector holds particular significance for women, offering them opportunities to advance their education and careers in this expanding field. The recognition of these opportunities for women is notably emphasized in countries like India and Saudi Arabia. Indeed, the energy transition process is perceived as having significant potential to reduce gender inequalities. In particular, the emergence of new professions in this field can empower women to pursue higher education and enter the workforce, thereby increasing their overall participation in labor market. More specifically, the creation of new jobs emerges as one of the main opportunities stemming for the energy transition process, in addition to the need to increase public awareness. The creation of job opportunities ranks first in all countries except for Italy and in China, achieving the highest results. Raising public awareness about energy and environmental issues, along with the economic impact of creating new jobs, implies significant changes within society. As opinion leaders have mentioned, this involves an overall cultural and behavioral shift. On the other hand, we have identified the most complex issues which require significant investment and strategic planning to address the energy transition. These represent the main challenges that could arise from the process. In this table, you can see the differences in percentage point between the opportunities and challenges of energy transition. The highest negative values indicate that a specific statement is more of a challenge than an opportunity. The development of new infrastructures and the training of professionals are the main two challenges across countries, except for Italy, the US, and Chile. More specifically, the development of new infrastructures is the main challenge, especially in the UK, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and India, while in Chile it's recognized as an opportunity. The training of professionals is especially challenging in India, Turkey, and China. Despite the potential challenges identified, the benefit-cost ratio of the transition process is positive when considering the medium to long term, more than 3 years. Opinion leaders believe that while the initial cost of transitioning to renewable energy can be high, the benefits, both economic and environmental, can grow exponentially once the initial investment are recuperated. This opinion is widely recognized by the public, except in Turkey and Algeria. According to these two countries, the transition may encounter obstacles due to the lower commitment of private companies and especially governments, affecting the cost-benefit assessment, making it high, but less positive than in the other countries. The collaboration between governments and private companies is confirmed as crucial for the energy transition process. On one hand, opinion leaders underline the pivotal role of government that, as policymakers, should regulate and decide on incentive policies to support the process. On the other hand, both targets highlight how companies should prioritize the innovation of products, services, and production processes. Among the public, the adoption of new production processes and the innovation of products and services is a sustainable way achieve to highest values in China. Providing training for skill development is emphasized more in UAE and Algeria compared to other countries. Private companies play an important role in raising awareness in EU countries and Chile, promoting a cultural shift toward energy transition. The centrality of training is emphasized by the public's demand for more information on the topic. It's noteworthy that even those who feel prepared acknowledge the need for further training. This evidence is especially true in Turkey, the UAE, China, and Algeria. Respondents from India, Saudi Arabia, and the USA believe that they are prepared and do not need further training more than others do. Overall, we can say that there is a great need for training on the energy transition process. The importance and urgency of developing dedicated programs, not only for citizens but also for the future professionals involved in this transition process, are widely recognized by both the general public and opinion leaders. Opinion leaders believe that education is crucial, especially for this complex topic. According to them, training should occur within 6-12 months, even though 2-3 years is a more realistic time frame. The map shows information related to the public's perceptions of this issue. The horizontal axis represents the percentage of those who consider education to be an urgent matter that should occur within the next 3 years, while the vertical axis represents the percentage of those who regards it as a very important issue to address. The importance of education and training is particularly recognized in southern global countries, where a significant number of individuals emphasize its importance and urgency. This opinion is relatively less evident in Western countries like Italy, the UK, and the USA. Analyzing training in more depth is noteworthy that both technical and soft skills are crucial, even though they vary across countries. The emphasis on creativity, problem solving, critical thinking, and analytical skills signals the need for well-rounded professionals in energy transition. Problem-solving skills are highlighted by half of the respondents in the nearly every country surveyed, particularly in Italy, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, China, USA, and Chile. Creativity and innovation are also frequently mentioned, especially in the UK, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, India, and the UAE. In the UK, critical thinking is also deemed most important. At the same time, technical knowledge on environmental impact analysis, alternative materials, renewable energy sources, and principle of the circular economy is seen as pivotal. In Italy and Chile, it's particularly crucial to analyze the impact of the energy transition on the territory. Knowledge on the environmental impact is also a top requirement in the UK, the UAE, and USA. Knowledge about alternative and sustainable energy sources ranks first among respondents in Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Algeria. Knowledge of alternative and sustainable materials and skills related to the circular economy and recycling are mentioned as key focuses in China and India. These skills, combined with relational competencies, cultural understanding are necessary for effective stakeholder engagement. Who are responsible for training people involved in the energy transition? Overall, the responsibility for education on energy transition is widely recognized as being collectively held by public authorities, universities, and private companies. There is a call for concrete cooperation among these subjects through a continuous dialogue to assess current needs, required skills, and technological competencies. This should also forecast emerging needs in the near future. To foster education on a global scale, it's necessary for international and local entities to cooperate. This process includes technology and competency exchange. Local entities are already playing a critical role in effectively implementing energy transition measures, as they have a better understanding of the specific needs, challenges, and resources of their regions. They are often more agile and can experiment with innovative solutions which can then be scaled up by the intervention of international organizations. Most opinion leaders underline that there is no need to create new international bodies. Instead, the focus should be on reinforcing existing organizations. The education on energy transition requires a comprehensive, global, and coordinated approach. As a possible starting point, an assessment of the current state of education and training for the energy transition, possibly overseen by the UN. Indeed, the UN, alongside other international organizations, can play a pivotal role in fostering a global energy transition skill development plan. This would involve not only creating targeted training programs for employees in energy sector, but also integrating renewable energy and sustainability modules into school curricula from an early age. This approach could empower a future workforce that is well versed in these areas. Digital platform, meanwhile, could serve as online database of knowledge, technical know-how, and best practices related to the energy transition. They could also offer online training and webinars, making education and training accessible to all, regardless of their geographical location. Policy harmonization is crucial, as it can stimulate the global clean energy market, accelerate technology transfer, and facilitate the sharing of expertise, thereby spinning up the energy transition. Education and social policies can play a pivotal role addressing gender inequalities. Ensuring equal access to education, particularly in STEM faculties, can help to bridge the gender gap in the energy sector. In addition to this, policies promoting gender equality in the labor market, such as equal pay and opportunities, can further encourage the participation of women in the energy transition. Finally, addressing this issue will require financial resources. Attention must be paid to managing the financial aspect of the education, ensuring that funding is not directed solely towards a few wealthy countries, but also toward intervention that reward virtuous behavior. Before handing over to the panelists, let me share with you some takeaway from this study that give a different perspective to the process of energy transition. First, there is an optimistic push on the environmental and social benefit of the energy transition, which is essential to take into account, especially by institutional stakeholders and political managerial class. Then, when prompted and accompanied in the correct narrative of the energy transition process, the importance of acquiring skills and competence is fully understood, and this aspect should be not underestimated. Last but not least, I was very struck by the approach to the energy transition by countries that are considered to be more backward in the process. They have declared greater dynamism, thus leading the questioning on the dynamics of competition on a global scale, where geopolitics and economics are increasingly closely connected to each other. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good morning to everyone, and let's start this second session focused on energy transition as an opportunity for international and institutional cooperation. I'll ask to join to the stage here Mr. Francesco La Camera, Director General of the International Renewable Energy Agency, Daniela Bernacchi, Executive Director of the Global Compact Network Italy, Lorenzo Fanara, Italian Ambassador to the UAE, and finally, connected remotely from France, Dia Reddy, lead author of the International Energy Agency report, Skills Development and Inclusivity for Clean Energy Transition. So let's start with Mrs. Daniela Bernacchi. There's the microphone. You can use the cone.
Thank you.
Perfect. And I would like to start asking you, given your privileged viewpoint, being the global network, a strategic way of cooperating between in industries and institutions, I would say, what would be the best way to accelerate this competence-driven roadmap?
It has been clearly said that there is a shortage of competencies for what regards the climate challenge and also in specific the energy transition. We had the chance to present another research followed again by IPSOS 2 days ago here at COP, where on the business engagement towards net zero, where it was clearly stated that there is a shortage of competencies in big corporations as well as in small enterprises. And only 36% of the Italian companies have skilled personnel inside the company, while they refer to consultants to measure their target reduction emission target. So it's really a lack of knowledge overall. How can we solve it? We've also had the chance to listen to many panels of the network of sustainable universities. They are very much engaged in spreading knowledge and increasing master-specific classes and trainings to companies. And we also think that a big responsibility is the one major company have in engaging their supply chain in a sustainability path. So engage their supply chain in trainings as well in tools, platform, information how to calculate, how to improve their sustainability path. So what we saw and what we can say from our observatory, as you said, it's that not only in Italy but worldwide, the UN Global Compact is the largest corporate sustainability initiative in the world. We engage 21,000 companies. That it's crucial the role of the big companies in terms of increase the total action, as well as the role of initiative as the Global Compact, because our research showed that the companies joining the initiative as MAIRE are more skilled and more careful on the negative impact as well as the positive impact they have on climate, and they're more engaged in the reduction of emissions. So I think the way to solve it is a multi-stakeholder way. There is no one size fits all, so we have to work together with university, with institutions, with governments, and also in spreading, with university of course, in spreading a culture of, I would say, not only technical, it has been clearly said by the research, but also a culture of urgency. Because it seems in this COP, but maybe we can say it later, that we will not hand with a final solution on main priorities. Of course, there is the gender gap. It's a knowledge gap, but also occupational gap, and I would say remuneration gap. This is another issue. So women are lag behind on STEM formation and also on knowledge, but also lag behind in opportunities given to them. If you consider sometimes selection, they have equal knowledge, equal diploma, but they don't get the job. So again, lights and shadow, I would say. But I'm positive that this kind of events as COP28 are crucial to increase a global movement also in raising awareness overall.
I see, and the multilateral approach, as you were saying, would be the best one to be implemented.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mrs. Bernacchi. We'll then go on and have La Camera, to whom I would not ask to anticipate any findings about the negotiation, naturally, but maybe you can tell us if competencies and upskilling is something that has, let's say, turned out to be as a priority for key decision maker, or at least perceived differently in comparison to the past.
So first of all, thank for inviting me to be here with you today. And thank you for the insight presentation. We have the impression now dealing with the countries that the conclusion of the study are really, pitching the reality. And concerning the training activity in general, naturally ARENA is not part of the negotiation. Naturally we are trying to contribute, but so we are not really involved in the making of. Naturally, we are all a little bit disturbed by the text that is being distributed yesterday. So we envisage that at least a couple of days will be needed to clean it. We, as ARENA, as you know, we are behind this call for the triple of renewable energy capacity by 2030. To be in line with the IPCC report on the 1.5. And we have questioned ourselves why we are not progressing as we should. Naturally, we are breaking a record every year of renewables. But still, the speed and the scale of this is not aligned with the pathway that may bring us in line with the achievement of the Paris Agreement goals. So this is evident. We have identified 3 impeding barriers. One is the infrastructure. So without grids that are interconnected, flexible and balanced, will be very difficult having more renewables into the grids. The other is the legal environment and the policies that still are look into the old centralized energy system based on fossil fuels, and not to a decentralized energy system as the new system is coming and will be there. The question, and the third element is the lack of the institutional capacity and the skills. And when we talk about the skills, we talk about hard, soft, so from the university to the workforce. We, in our number, we publish every year a report on jobs, and we have seen that how women may get new opportunities in the new energy system. We have 32% of new jobs created for women. And that is much more that in the old centralized system on fossil fuel system. So we see this trend that has been captured also in the analysis that's been presented. The skills we talk about the university curriculum that they are not really still looking at the new energy system that is coming to the workforce, because the oil and gas and coal industry, they will leave some of the jobs because they will be anyway slow down the activities. So there is the need for reskilling this workforce. And I also listened to the presentation where I say that many leads CEO of companies say that this is a urgent matter, and is consistent with our reality, where the companies say that they cannot do investment as much as they may wish it, because they have not the workforce there, so they have no the capacity. So these are elements that I think are the reality. We as Arena, we have training courses in member states. They can call for us for going there and make training. In many, naturally, the training is always tailored on the different needs in different countries. We have also initiative for raising awareness with the UNESCO, we have a program for training the trainers. We have a program with the Minister of Foreign Affairs that's called HIACT. That is more for raising awareness, but the good thing is that we are already active in more than 80 countries. Anyway, on training and enhanced capacity, there is a lot to do, and we are also interested to listen to what we are doing, and also we are ready to consider how we can better collaborate, being on board on this on our journey toward the decentralized energy system based on renewables.
Thank you very much. And this gives me the opportunity, given the fact that we're talking about relationship with universities. Ilaria was anticipating before that some days ago an important finalization of agreement was dealt with. Maybe, Ambassador, you can tell us something more about this?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much once again to Fabrizio Diamato, MAIRE Tecmont, Fondazione MAIRE, and Nando Pagnoncelli, and thank you also to the previous panelists for their inspiring words. We are talking about training. Of course, training is fundamental, and I would like to commend MAIRE Tecmont for signing an important memorandum of understanding with Abu Dhabi University a couple of days ago. I was present at the ceremony, and I would like also to thank Nicolò Helbert for his important role in this achievement. But why we are talking about training? We are talking about training because the challenge that lies ahead is fundamental. Is for some people is too big. So if we not invest in human capital, governments will not be able to cope with this challenge. And this is the first fundamental conclusion. So training is fundamental, and I once again commend MAIRE Tecmont for investing in youth and training. The second point is witnessed by all of you in this panel and some other events that were organized this year by COP28. We have come to the conclusion, which is also confirmed by the survey conducted by Mr. Nando Pagnoncelli, that governments alone cannot face this challenge. It's impossible. It's impossible because they lack resources, but it's impossible because we need the inclusion of private sector. So, and this has been the first really inclusive COP. The Emirati presidency understood clearly enough that they had to involve private companies because the challenge is enormous. But the third point, which is even more important, to my view, it is that it is in the benefit, or to the benefit of private companies to invest in training and to invest in energy transition. Because even if you have to face some costs in the short term, what the survey says and what people realize is that the long-term benefits are huge for you, for private for private companies, but the benefits are huge for the global communities, and the benefits are huge also for the reputation of the private companies who participate in this process. So these are the main three conclusions. Training, fundamental. Inclusion, fundamental. Private companies, because governments, institutions alone cannot cope with the challenge. And the investing in training and investing in energy transition, in decarbonization, in innovation, in new skills, in the long term is to the benefits of the private companies. So this has been, in a way, the Italian position to this COP. So we have tried to say that we support energy transition, not with an ideological approach, but with a pragmatic approach, which would include and not exclude private companies, which would include and not exclude youth, which would include and not exclude civil society committed, as the survey has underlined once again, to these common goals to the benefit of our future generations.
Thank you, Ambassador. And last but not least, Divya Reddy. Ms. Reddy, in a nutshell, you inspired us because we are here today, most importantly because of you, of a report that in a way fueled our research and let's say oriented us in the right direction. And I'm talking about this skill development and inclusivity for clean energy transition by the International Energy Agency. Would you like to delve into a bit?
Yes, so thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. So just a little bit of background, the International Energy Agency is doing more work in the area of what we call people-centered clean energy transitions, of which one very important component is employment and skilling, on the understanding that clean energy transitions cannot move forward and be successful unless they're supported by and actually benefit the wider population. In addition, clean energy transitions, as we know, represent a massive economic and employment opportunity, but they do need to be managed carefully to actually take advantage of that opportunity and to also limit negative impacts that it will have. So just to provide a little bit of context, based on the latest IEA World Energy Employment Report, which came out last month, we see that already clean energy jobs outnumber those in the fossil fuel industry. So out of a total energy employment of 67 million jobs in 2022, spread over a range of industries, including fuel supply and power sector, as well as end uses such as energy efficiency and vehicle manufacturing, 36 million were in clean energy sectors. And moreover, these sectors have seen strong growth in the post-COVID years, adding 4.7 million compared to job losses of 1.3 million in the fossil fuel sectors. And geographically, the leading factors driving the size of each region's energy workforce are population, labor efficiency, wages, and the level of investment in new energy infrastructure. And notably, clean energy is the primary driver of growth in worldwide energy employment, and only in a few regions are fossil fuel jobs higher than they were in pre-pandemic levels. So based on current policies, we expect 8 million new clean energy jobs will be added by 2030, while fossil fuel jobs will decline by 2.5 million, so that's for a net increase of 5.7 million. But in a net zero scenario, the net increase in energy jobs to 2030 would be 17 million, which is quite substantial, and clearly represents a tremendous opportunity. But avoiding these skill shortages that we've heard about calls for more attention from policymakers and other stakeholders. We're already seeing shortages of skilled labor in clean energy construction projects, really underlining the importance of strategic and proactive labor policies to build up the workforce needed to support clean energy technologies. So with respect to the report, as we know, ongoing energy transitions, decarbonization efforts are poised to bring about these profound shifts to the energy sector employment, including massive new job opportunities in clean energy sectors at the same time that we have to manage job losses in traditional energy sectors. And coping with that shift will require new programs of education, certification, vocational training, along with targeted upskilling and reskilling programs for the existing workforce. And what we see is that already several governments, companies, educational organizations, foundations, among others, are already developing robust education and training programs to meet those challenges. And so we thought that a review of existing skills and training programs can provide some valuable insights for others pursuing energy transitions. So the report, which is titled Skills Development and Inclusivity for Clean Energy Transitions, really compiles a collection of case studies from around the world that showcase efforts designed to develop skills and workforces for energy transitions. It's not meant to be a comprehensive collection of all programs, but really rather a reference point to showcase different measures across different jurisdictions in a variety of contexts. And the report builds off the IEA's Global Commission on People-Centered Clean Energy Transitions, which last year issued 12 actionable recommendations underpinned by over 150 case studies that address key issues of ensuring that energy transitions are truly benefiting people. So we looked at the skills programs in a variety of categories. So the first one is on clean energy jobs. We know that there'll be a once-in-a-generation opportunity for employment growth across the world. But really the overriding concern is the lack of sufficiently skilled workforce to undertake the scale of new projects. So, a number of governments and other organizations are already looking into trainings, reskilling, and education programs in anticipation of these changes and can provide some good lessons learned. The next category was for the coal sector specifically. As the most greenhouse gas intensive fuel, coal will of course be among the first sectors impacted by energy transitions. And already we're seeing major disruptions in coal sectors, especially in North America and Europe. And there are a number of programs, including collaborative programs between governments, companies, and workers that have proven to be effective at sort of managing the transition. And then beyond coal, further down the line, we'll also see similar disruptions in other fossil fuel sectors. So again, managing oil and gas workers' transitions will also be important. A number of governments have already put in place plans for addressing those. And then even beyond oil and gas, the automotive sector is also poised for a major shakeup as emissions reductions policies increase the uptake of electric vehicles over traditional combustion engines. And so automotive workers will also require a shift in their skill sets during the transition to produce more electric vehicles. Beyond governments, companies and educational institutions have also begun to put in place programs to prepare for the upcoming sort of skills revolution that clean energy transitions will bring. And for companies, the existing workforce we found can present a unique opportunity to develop a pool of talent in emerging areas of low carbon sectors. And then, of course, education and research institutions also have an important role to play in devising curricula and offering courses that can provide people with employable skills in the clean energy economy. And then lastly, I'll just say, for energy transitions to really be truly people-centered, the diversity of the energy workforce needs to be a paramount consideration in policy and program design for workforce training and skills development. As we heard, women in particular are strongly underrepresented in the energy labor force. There are also a number of other groups that have traditionally been marginalized, including minority groups, rural communities, remote communities, and there is also an opportunity, of course, to engage youth and to ensure that the young people of today have the skills needed to take advantage of this opportunity for the energy workforce of the future. So I encourage everyone to take a look at the report and look forward to our discussion here.
Thank you very much. Very thorough, Ms. Reddy. I keep hearing a keyword which is shifting. And I would like to get back to Mr. La Camera to understand, we were talking about job opportunities and reskilling, upskilling. As part of, from job opportunities, new job opportunities, do we see also kind of a shift of the world job map as in new, different way of job models? No, new roles that today were not even considered and tomorrow are going to be key to accelerate this energy transition roadmap?
Really? And what I can say is sure that's where we are, as you say, when you talk about new skill, we also talk about new professionals. So that's without saying that this is happening.
Is it already happening?
That's for sure. That is already happening. You know, that's we are publishing for now more than 10 years a report on jobs, where all these trends are very well described, including the fact that new technologies are entering the way we are managing the energy system. You know, when we talk, for example, about the grids, and we talk about the grids that are interconnected, flexible and balanced, this is technology that in fact was not, and the use of artificial intelligence and smart grids and other is something that is coming now. So we always talk about new and better job, because the qualification for the workers is different. And this is what we say when we talk about the fact also at university level the curriculum should be different, because we are not replicating the kind of professional the skills that we have been using in the old system. We are creating something completely new. And this process, naturally, also the skills that we need may be a little bit different. This, I think, is inevitable in some way. For example, that now, you know, in this new system is taking space also the use of biofuels, bioenergy, these kind of things. And we are working, for example, with the ENI in Africa for training people to this new kind of skills. We are working with a Danish company in Philippines, because Philippines want to go for offshore winds. They have the skilled workforce for that. We are trying to work on standard for a certification for workers, so that we can have a common standard that may, may favor the fact that when companies are investing abroad, they have to use the worker of the recipient country. So the part of the added value should remain there. New skills, for example, manufacturing of mineral, that is one of other topics that are relevant in the energy transition. Technologies and skills should be got together. If you want, for example, having part of the supply chain added value remain in Africa for reducing the existing inequalities. So naturally we are going to absolutely a new energy system that will require some of the skills that are already there, but many skills has to be at least amplified as a presence in the market. So I think these are more or less obvious trend. And these apply for all the energy transition and also apply for renewables in some way, where the holistic approach that we need when we talk about renewables is also needed skills that are consistent with creating the net that is necessary for all different area work. So absolutely, that's we need new skills and we need to train that. And as has been said, what is important to notice is that in investing in renewables, we are creating more jobs than jobs that are lost in the traditional system. It is very important to notice, and also the fact that women are in, because usually the jobs are better jobs, in the sense that they require strong, to say, strong physical to be part of it. So more technical, so women are more easy to get there. Again, we say 32% against something between 10 and 15% in the old system, the presence of women at that job.
Very clear, and a big challenge ahead. And this gives me the opportunity to get back to Mrs. Bernacchi, because we were talking about women, and what about inclusion and gender empowerment with regard to this possible future ahead?
Again, there are different views. I mean, we can say that within the companies joining our initiative, there is a high awareness of the need of inclusion of women for what regards tackling climate change. So we had last day an event together with the ONGC celebrating the Climate Ambition Accelerators. 2,000 companies had done the program in 50 countries, and the majority, I mean, half were women joining this program on science-based target that still needs to be well known, and most the known used as a target for companies. So this is very nice, but when we consider that in our COP we had the 4 mainstream, technology, innovation, finance, inclusion, and frontier communities here, we see that the final report that was launched on the 6th of December shows that for what regards climate finance in empowering women in finding jobs, we are still behind. And for what, and to say the truth, it was cancelled from the final declaration. Yeah, and for what regard vulnerable communities, again, we didn't find a final declaration that is fully satisfying, because they are not simply heard. The participation in a solution regarding adaptation or resilience of women in vulnerable countries, where they have a lot to say, considering that women are the most affected on climate change in some countries, are not really involved at the level they should be. So we think that we will have the global stocktake at COP28 next year. We were aiming that the voice of these women would have been much heard, I would say, in the final declaration, but still we have seen many improvements from 2019 when the report was launched, and I think the Gender Action Plan was launched, so I think that I'm positive by next year we will see further improvement.
Clear enough. Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
We do hope so, yeah.
Absolutely, together. And leaving the floor to Ambassador Fanara, before we were thinking also about Italy. What could be the role of Italy in try to be kind of a driver for this evolution?
Thank you. So the role of Italy, without flattering MAIRE Tecnimont, is first of all an important role through the companies, because the Italian companies have invested in decarbonization a lot. Italian companies have invested in energy efficiency a lot. I mean, historically, we have imported energy, and energy is very expensive. So we have developed high skills technology. So we can share our technology in decarbonization, in energy, in efficiency, in renewables. So this is the the first contribution. The second contribution, as I mentioned earlier before, we have elaborated, created, and developed a mechanism which puts youth at the center stage of the debate. And it is fundamental to raise awareness and to have youth included in this debate. And the third fundamental contribution that I can see is due to the geographic collocation of Italy, which is in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. So we have the ambition to become a hub for any kind of interconnection, bringing together Africa, Middle East, and Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. Very clear. In the meanwhile, Ms. Saddi, we were we will thinking about with Mrs. Bernacchi that in 1 year we're going to be hopefully with some important result in COP29 in Azerbaijan. What would be the best recipe with the best tools available right now to make sure that in 1 year, starting from now, we can measure some results?
I mean, it's not an easy question, but I do think that one thing that we do need to focus on immediately is scaling up. So we see a lot of programs all over the world that have been quite effective, but we do need to kind of ramp up the scale based on the volume of jobs and skill competencies that are required for the energy transition. So I think a starting point for that would be to actually do a little bit of sort of workforce and skills mapping to understand what skills are actually needed, what volume of those skills are needed, and on different time frames. And that would be a starting point to actually developing the certifications and training programs and other things that are required to underpin it. So it's a big undertaking, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But I think the sooner a lot of that work gets underway, the sooner that we can address the sort of shortfalls in skills.
Clear, thank you. We were waiting for another possible contribution, but maybe not. So, in this case, I would say that I thank you all the panelists that are convened in this conversation. And let's hope that we can see each other in 1 year in COP29, really, with some measurable results. From Tommaso Verani, Group Media Relations, this is everything. And in the meanwhile, I would like to leave the floor to Mr. Fabrizio Di Amato, Chairman of MAIRE and of MAIRE Foundation, for his final remarks. Please.
Thank you, Tommaso. Thank you, Ambassador. Here. Thank you, Mr. La Camera, Mrs. Bernacchi, Mr. Reddy. Everybody coming here today. I have a speech, but I would like to summarize what I'm listening here, but also I would like to you our personally decision of to present in the COP28 is the first time for us as a participation, and then also we decide to be here with our foundation. Thank you, Ilaria, for a great job you did, and Mr. Pagnoncelli to help us to do as a research. It's been clear directly the point. That's important because we are engineers, we are pragmatic approach, and then the result of this research is in line with our mentality. But I have a few points also after I listened to your speech. Thank you, the panelists, also to give us a view about where we are, especially what is in front of us of energy transition. My think is the following. The first important point is we need to be more attractive for the young generation. This is the fact. We can do whatever we want in terms of no, investments and training and so on. That's is the key. But I think the industry and the government in different level, we see after the presentation of the research, they are moving in that way. But I think we need to work more and more to be more attractive, because the new generation, after my personal experience, I went in many different parts of the young student, university, they are static, they are not believing we are moving faster and faster. That's why the important we decide to be here to present this matter, not the technical point, because we are doing as MAIRE group, as an international group, engineering worldwide, market leader in different parts of the job. We are doing a lot of things in technology, but repeat the matter, we have the very important challenge we have in front of us to convince the new generation this is the place has to be in the energy transition. They need to work in the future. They are protagonists, has become the protagonist for the energy transition, but to change the world if we want to do this. That's why we decide to invest. And the mission of our foundation is to invest in education, only in education. We don't want to despair our effort, our people and our money available. Part of our profit has to be involved in this direction. And then I would like to repeat thanks again after also listen to the panelists. And then I have another matter I would like to share with you is the transformation of education, especially with the government. We need to help through the industry to support the governments to moving ahead in the different way of education. Because, we are sometimes our system has to be old system. I would like to give you an example what we are doing. Thanks Ilaria and Carlo, for the strong job you did, but what we are doing for the future. For technical institution, the superiority school in Italy, it was important for after the war, especially in our country, Italy, to build up the new country. It was important to everybody to have the skills coming from the blue collar to the middle white collar as a professional to the degree as engineer and so on. Thanks to them, we develop our country as an industrial country. It's become one of the important industrial economics in the world. Then we need to reshuffling a little bit with the category. Also the brand connected are most to be attractive. Just a repeat, I would like to say an example. In our institution, there is technical people, geometry, perito, mechanical, think technical, mechanical, perito, mechanical. But the new generation of people has to be more attractive for site manager, for energy transition, or more digital. That's why we are working with the ETS, the academy, are in line with new generation of the education and training for the new generation. No? Thanks to that, we have experience. We try to work in that way as an academy. No, has to be 2 years more than the 5 after the school, as like a master between company and the education, the institute of technical institute. After that, you receive the additional master, and then you can go straight to the company. And then, you know, I spoke with some head of the institutional. They told me, we have degrees, our people, our young generation coming to study. Thanks to this evolution, the new people coming are more up than down it was in the last 5 years. That's why I would like to be also, we need to have the new job title. The people want to know, for example, English, digitalization of the education has to be a part of the important thing. That's why with our foundation, we are working and then we invest 100% of our possibility in education. That's, I think, is to be, and then we need to work also, in our next 10-year strategic plan has been announced in beginning of March of this year, is Unbox the Future. We decided to do a 10 years plan. It was not easy to work as a company like us to see what's happened in the next 10 years. But we work very hard in the 6 months to prepare this, and in the next March of 2024 has to be an update of the Unbox the Future, not only in terms of the profit projects coming, but I would like to talk also where we are in terms of the training, education, and so on. Then we put an important portion and pillar to develop our plan coming from the new generation of people. Especially, I see the research, Mr. Pagnoncelli, there is a 14 million new job. We need to know what is the new job. That's why we need to work very closer, industries, university, and government, politics has to be together to be in front of us to cross this challenge. But I would like to pass finally the positive. I'm an entrepreneur. I started 40 years ago, when I was very young, 19, 1983. I remember very well the story. We was 3 employees. Now we are 10,000 people all over the world. We became the largest multinational company in engineering. But in that time, my thing was the hope, the dream, what I can do. There is, the environment around me was positive because we see in the time the building, the infrastructure works, everything was moving. And then I was there, and then I said, maybe I can do something also, I can add something, and I will support this growing has to be in front of us. Then I think, in my opinion, I'm very positive. The energy transition has to be an opportunity because in front of us there is a green land. There is many things, especially I would like to back with the ambassador are with us since a long time. It's important achievement also here. I would like to back in our country. We are not natural resource in our country, but we have other things. We have brilliant people. We have very strong industries. We have a very good university, and then I think we can do a very important role in this part of the transition of the world. And then repeat, I suggest, and then I try to use also this possibility to talk and pass the message also with the management, with the establishment, with the other entrepreneur to invest in the energy transition. This is an opportunity. We see in our organization, we started in 2018 to establish a next camp from scratch. In 2018, our organization was 100% E&C EPC contractor in fossil business. 5 years later, we have 25% our profit coming from technology and new solution for energy transition. You know, just 5 years later. And then in our strategy plan has to be double in the next 5 years. That's, I think, has to be a potential job in front of us, potential growing, and more invest, more return. That is my things. More invest in the energy transition, and then also has to be, repeat, more attractive. The problem we have, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm positive, definitely. I cannot be a pessimist, but the very important challenge we have in front of us has to be convince the new generation that we are working very serious, very hard, and thanks to them, we can change the world. Has to be is a better world and a profitability world. And also, I would like to, not finally, but to say also with the gender diversity. Also in our organization, we are doing a lot on that. Just in our board director in our company, a few years ago, the board of director of the holding company, but the subsidiary, especially the subsidiary, I checked, was zero participation on women. Now we are in the board of director of the listed company, we are compliant, we are more than 40%. But also now with our subsidiary, we are very closer to the 25% are women on the board. And then we are working also to in that way, but the important thing is 1 year, the feedback of our organization is more and more better, because we receive from the women are participating in this board, in the decision, with the same level of intelligence, of CV, experience, and so on. They have a different angulation of the same matter. And then also, especially for me, but for us, of the management, to take a decision, because my job every day is take decision. Because sometimes somebody say, what is your job? And every day, take a decision. In the difficult situation, it's not in comfort, always in comfort zone. But it's important also to receive the feedback, and then we don't know sometimes to go around, to find additional people. Maybe most of them are in your organization. You need to discover it, to give up, and then put together in the same challenge we are in front of us, and then repeat. I think I would like to conclude and thank you to all of you, the organization here with the communication department of Carlo Nicolais, but thanks again, Ilaria, for the strong and great job, but also for to pass in our internal organization as a head also for the sustainability of the group, to pass this perception. The people now are, all the people are more involved and more passionate and help us to move on in that way. Then repeat, we are in front of us a Greenland, grand opportunity to take this jump has to be also a benefit for us, repeat, but important is to be for the new generation has to be a leader to the energy transition. Thank you all.